out at the Jimmy V cam right here. As you see, the roads clearly have some crews that are out there preparing it. And that's basically kind of what it looks like today as you're driving in. I know I was driving in on Falls of Neuse this morning, Elizabeth, and there are some spots that still need a little work, but I mean, these crews are doing what they can considering the conditions.
Yeah, there are only so much of them, and we had snow covering, pretty much the entire area. The snow is gone, and the clouds are lingering. We're going to see that sun's coming out this afternoon. That will really help to melt some of the snow out there. This is a look at a few of the totals so far. We'll continue to have more of these coming in all morning, but Tarboro so far the highest at 4 inches, Wilson at 3 inches, Goldsboro 2 inches, Cary at about 1.25 inches, Chapel Hill at 1 inch, Lillington about 1 inch. We also have about 1 inch right here at WRAL. Chris Michaels out there standing around in that big inch of snow. How's it looking?
So far, so good. Yeah, out here on the sidewalk, it's sort of turned into a little bit of a skating rink, and I can actually point you down toward some of the snow that's fallen. And what you can see is kind of that layer of ice that's beneath the snow. But I also want to get a little pile of it right here. And what you'll notice is that it's very powdery. That's not very typical for us. In fact, I was looking back. Hey, look at that. That's a great shot. I was looking back at some of the data, and the kind of snow that we got, the texture of it, is more typical of Montana just because of how cold it was as the snow was coming down. That's a good thing because it's easier to remove. It's lighter. So for those of us that saw 1 inch or less, you could get away with like a leaf blower. But for those of us that maybe saw 3-4 inches, you're still going to have to shovel it out. But also remember, before you head out the door, if you have to, get the snow off your car just so that it's not flying to folks behind you. But Elizabeth, I always said I wanted to go to Iceland, and we've got our own mini Iceland right here. Fountain Mountain looks beautiful.
It does. It's amazing out there. Thanks for standing out there and withstanding the wind chill and all that deep snow. You've got to stand around. Officially, it was 1.5 inches in Raleigh, but it was still the snowiest day since January the 20th. 2022. Talking about that snow, skiers love that real powdery snow that you get out west where it's so cold. The colder it is, the drier the snow is, and it's just light, fluffy stuff. And Chris said, too, it's easier to get it off the roads, off the sidewalks, and the crews have been doing a good job of clearing the main roads. Again, there are only so many of them, but they're working as hard as they can. The sun comes out by lunchtime or so, and that will really help the melting process, but it's cold, and we'll only hit freezing this afternoon, and overnight tonight, we'll definitely see some refreezing. This is a look at Franklinton and even roads that haven't been plowed, where the cars have been driving and creating some ruts. Once that sun hits that dark spot, that will help to melt it and break it up a little bit more. Only 21 degrees out there right now. It is cold, cold, cold. And of course, we have a wind chill to go along with it. So we have a cold weather advisory in place. Again, today, we'll probably see it posted again tomorrow as well. So today is a WRAL Weather Alert day. Current temperatures heading out the door are in the upper teens to low 20s, but then you throw in the wind chill and it feels like 9 in Durham and Raleigh, 6 in Rocky Mount. Chris was really good. He didn't complain about being out there where it feels like 9. 10 in Fayetteville, 10 in Roxborough. And you know what? Your kids are probably not going to complain about it either. They're probably going to say, I don't need a coat. But look at this. Even this afternoon, it's going to feel like temperatures in the upper 20s. Yes, that is my impression of my teenager who says, I don't need a coat. Samantha Barnes sent us this beautiful photo from Selma as that snow started to pile up in her backyard. And Jermaine Sundin from Raleigh, this is her granddaughter in that big old coat. She put a coat on. Smart girl. Isn't that a great shot? I love that. Please send us your photos. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send them our way. Only 33 in Raleigh, 31 in Durham, and 33 in Fayetteville for this afternoon. And it will be another cold night as our temperatures dip back down into the teens. After that, we start a slow warm up. By the time we get to early next week, temperatures are back to near normal. Ken's here to talk more about how those roads are looking.
Glad you were here with us. A beautiful sight at Dix Park. I've seen a couple people in the park with their pups running around. It is such a beautiful morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking where that snow is falling right now.
It is on the coast, moving off. As a matter of fact, here's the back edge of the clouds. We're beginning to see a little bit of sunshine breaking out here in some of our western counties. Once that sun comes out, it will look absolutely gorgeous. It'll start to feel a little better, even though it's going to still be really cold today. But it will also also help to melt some of the snow that's on the roads. That dark pavement will begin to capture some of that sun's energy and start the melting process. We may not see as much melting though on the grass and the trees and cars and that sort of thing. We take a look at some of our snowfall reports. We're still getting those in and we'll keep updating them. Tarboro at 4 inches, Wilson at 3, Seven Springs in Wayne County 3.5, Cary at a little over an inch, Garner at an inch, and Lillington at just under an inch. Officially at RDU, it was about an inch and a half. We'll likely see the skies clearing here over the next 2 hours or so. By lunchtime, we should all be seeing some sunshine in Cary. That sun's already beginning to break out. And I was looking when I pulled this up, there are people walking around enjoying the snow right here in the downtown Cary Park. I don't know that there's any sledding in the park, but you can see the cars driving by. The streets surrounding the park look like they're mainly clear. 21 is our temperature, and the wind is at 11 miles per hour, and that's pretty strong. It's enough to really drop that wind chill. So we're in the single digits to low teens with the wind chill. It feels like 9 in Durham and Raleigh. It feels like 6 in Rocky Mount. It feels like 10 in Fayetteville right now. So it's very cold. We do have the cold weather advisory, of course, in effect for this morning. We might see it again tomorrow. If your kids are headed out for sledding, you want to remind them that it's going to feel like upper 20s this afternoon. Our actual high in the low 30s. So very cold day, even with the sunshine. The snow is over. We're still looking at slick roads in a few places. And of course, those low wind chills. And of course, Ken is here to talk a little bit more about where the roads are.
Driving around, but we're not seeing too many people out on the roads today. Don't go out if you don't have to. Some of the side roads are very slick. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking exactly where all this snow is falling right now. You know, it's so great to see people getting outside because some people have never seen snow.
It's been 3 years since we had any real measurable snow across our area, especially right here officially in the Triangle. And so here it is at the coast in particular. Boy, historic snow there, records that they've set. The snow is pushing off the coast right now. And of course, it's over here where we are. Starting to see the sun break out in a few places. Here are a few of our snowfall reports so far. We keep getting these in, so we'll keep updating them. But Tarboro, the highest so far at 4 inches. Wilson at 3. Seven Springs in Wayne County, 3.5 inches. Cary at a little over an inch. Garner at about an inch. Lillington a little under an inch. And Raleigh, it was about an inch and a half. Poor meteorologist Chris Michaels is out there in the very cold temperatures, taking a look at that snow. How's it out there, Chris?
Hey, you say poor meteorologist, Chris. I'm having a blast out here. We've got Fountain Mountain behind me, and you know, it's cold, but this is kind of what we live for, right? So let's talk about the snow. As we're starting to see the clouds break up, we're seeing more sun, and that's going to cause a little bit of a reaction here both during day and night. So snow, it reflects 90% of the sunlight that comes in. So that's going to help the melting process on the roads. But if you have to be out and about, just remember your sunglasses. Here's another thing that you'll have to keep in mind. At night, it actually increases the amount of heat that leaves the surface. So by first thing tomorrow morning, we'll be at 10 to 15 degrees. There's that threat for some refreezing. Make sure you give your pets and your local weatherman a nice warm place to stay. But all jokes aside, remember to leave the faucet dripping, especially if you have exposed piping, at least one in your house, just so that you avoid any kind of issues first thing tomorrow morning. But back out here, outside the WRAL Weather Studios. The road there, Western Boulevard, is plenty quiet. Just have a few cars going by. That seems to be pretty clear. But again, these sidewalks right here, they're not going to really clear up very soon, and any kind of refreezing overnight is going to make them slick. So I would definitely plan for potential delays heading into tomorrow morning. Elizabeth?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, well, we know you love it out there. Take a look at the road temperatures. 19 in Roxborough, 21 Durham, 23 in Fayetteville. So we are easily 10 degrees below freezing out there on the road. So it will be a fairly slow process. The crews have done a great job of clearing a lot of the main roads for sure. But the side roads will likely stay covered for much of the day. Areas where we begin to see a little bit of the snow clearing, the sunshine interacting with that dark pavement will help that melting process. This morning, dangerous wind chills in the single digits, and we'll see that again tomorrow. Beginning to see a little sunshine. Take a look at North Hills there. Blue sky up above. Cars are driving up and down in front of North Hills on the Beltline, looking just fine. But Fayetteville, completely snow covered there, 2 to 3 inches of snow. And a lot of snow here on Salem Street and Apex. It's looking a little bit better, more cars driving on it, and it's beginning to melt. All clear in Chapel Hill, right here in downtown, but you can be sure that there are definitely some secondary roads where it's still pretty slippery. The snow is falling like big time, big flakes at Carolina Beach right now. There are some folks out. I bet they're making some big sandy snowballs out there on the beach. Isn't that an amazing view? That snow about to pull out for good, and so much has fallen. In the Wilmington area, up to 6 inches, up and down the coast, all the way up to Morehead City, about 8 inches, and some official totals. Kitty Hawk at 9 inches, Kill Devil Hills at 8 inches. We have Monica coming up in just a little while. Monica Casey in our 9 o'clock hour. She's out on the Outer Banks. I cannot wait to see what that looks like when we get to her coming up in just about 10 or 15 minutes. Down into Florida, record. I mean, they blew out the record. The previous record, 4 inches in Milton, and they ended up with 8 to 9 inches of snow there along the Gulf Coast. Our biggest story, of course, as we're going forward is the cold temperatures. We have a cold weather advisory. That wind chill is in the single digits in the Triangle and over around Rocky Mount. And we'll probably see the same thing again for tomorrow morning. So another cold night, as Chris said, we're back down into the teens. And then we start to see a warm up for the weekend. But of course, we have a few more cold days to deal with. Ken here talking about the roads.
Just around 10 minutes before 9, Elizabeth, we're staying on top of the road conditions, particularly on our main routes, including here at I-40 and Rock Quarry Road. Very little traffic to report, which is good news. People are staying off the roads. Taking it over to Durham this morning, I got an email from one of our viewers asking about 15501. Well, here it is. This is I-40 right there. You can see I-40 completely clear, and 15501 right here, completely clear this morning as well. So, Janice, there's your look at 15501. Thanks for that email this morning, and of course, thank you for watching. Now, there are a handful of incidents dotting our live traffic sensors this morning, and really and truly, there are a couple that I want to bring your attention to, particularly this one here that we're going to start with, pretty much in the southeast Raleigh area. It's a situation that we've been watching all morning long. This crash just cleared on South New Hope Road. This is New Hope Road right there. Once you cross over Rock Quarry, it becomes Jones Sausage Road, but we're seeing quite a bit of a delay in terms of the congestion that's there on Jones Sausage Road. So you want to avoid Jones Sausage Road for right now. This is other entrance ramp, a crash between Glenwood Avenue and I-440 eastbound, not causing any problems in that particular area, but just watch for some police activity if you happen to be navigating Glenwood Avenue this morning. We do have WRAL's Brett Neese and photographer Charles Bradley out on the roadways in Johnston County this morning. Brett, where are you? And set the scene for us.
Yeah, Ken, good morning. We are on Hickory Grove Church Road. This is in the Four Oaks area, kind of near Reedy Creek Golf Course, if you're familiar with that part of Johnston County. And take a look. These are some of these back roads, some of these side roads that we're talking about all morning long that are completely untouched and completely covered at this point. One of these, the road that we're on right now, Hickory Grove Church Road, is kind of a windy road, and it is causing a little bit of a tricky navigation for us right now with Charles Bradley behind the wheel. And we are headed towards the Fuquay Arena area for a couple of reports that we're going to check out. But this is what we've been talking about, is these side roads, these country roads that are really in bad shape right now. We're able to navigate safely. There's nobody else out on the roads right now. Can't really see the lines right now. Hopefully this sun that you can see off in the distance is starting to poke through the clouds, and maybe it'll help melt some of this off here over the next few hours or so. But we're going to continue to check back in with you as we check out several other reports that are out here in the Johnston County and southern Wake County areas. And once we do, we'll keep you updated. Live in Johnston County, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
All right, thank you, Brett. And we can't help but notice the cute little pup playing in the snow behind us at Dix Park. So adorable. All right, our team coverage of the winter blast continues with WRAL's Chelsea Donovan.
And Chelsea has been actually tracking the road conditions in the Triangle. And right now she is near UNC Rex Hospital on Durley Road. So tell me a little bit what it's looking like behind you there, Chelsea.
Yeah, just a few moments ago when we rolled up, we did see a car that was actually stalled out here on Durley Road. I want to show you, this is because it's still got a lot of snow and ice right on top of it. Just before we came to you live, we actually saw a DOT snow plow come and sort of scrape this area. I would imagine because we're near a hospital, so they want to make sure that these roads are completely cleared out. And that is not the case here at this moment. The good news is we're not seeing a lot of traffic on this road. Normally, this is an area that abuts to a lot of different doctors' offices and things of that nature. There's one here that's actually closed. The secondary roads getting here, like Lake Boone Trail, Edwards Mill, a little dicey still at this point, so we're glad to see some of the plows coming and clearing this off. But you can see a lot of these cars here on the roadway taking it really slow, and that's because, as I mentioned, the roads here are not completely clear. We're not seeing like what we saw on Capitol or Glenwood and Lewisburg, where they put that brine down and it did a good job of clearing the roadways. We actually saw when the DOT came through, they were dumping what looked like a sand and salt mixture on the road just to enhance that efforts. We're waiting, of course, for the snow, for the sun to come out rather, so we can hopefully see a difference in the roadways here. But right now we're live on Durley Road in Raleigh. Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
And hopefully those roads get cleared up a little bit more than that.
Yeah, even if you have four-wheel drive, be careful out there.